The morning fog hung low over Lincoln Elementary School in Oakland, California, as Principal Maria Rodriguez nervously adjusted her blazer for the third time. The old gymnasium, with its squeaky wooden floors and faded championship banners from decades past, had never hosted a visitor quite like this. Stephen Curry, the Golden State Warriors' beloved point guard, was coming to speak to their students about perseverance and following dreams. 8-year-old Marcus Thompson sat quietly in the back row of the bleachers, his small hands clutching a wrinkled piece of paper against his chest. While his classmates buzzed with excitement around him, Marcus seemed lost in his own world. His teacher, Mrs. Patterson, had noticed how withdrawn he'd become since his father's deployment overseas 3 months ago. The art therapy sessions had helped a little, but Marcus still struggled to express his feelings with words. The gymnasium doors creaked open, and a hush fell over the 200 elementary. Students packed into the bleachers. Stephen Curry walked in with his characteristic warm smile, wearing a simple Warriors hoodie and jeans. He moved with an easy confidence, but there was something gentle in his demeanor that immediately put everyone at ease. The afternoon sunlight streaming through the high windows caught the determination in his eyes as he waved to the cheering children. "Good afternoon, Lincoln Elementary." Curry's voice carried clearly across the gym without needing a microphone. The students erupted in cheers, their voices echoing off the walls adorned with colorful student artwork and motivational posters. Marcus watched quietly, his fingers tracing the edges of his drawing, a simple picture of a basketball player in a blue jersey with "Daddy" written in crayon at the bottom. As Curry began talking about his journey from a young boy who was told he was too small to play basketball to becoming an NBA champion, Marcus felt something stirring inside him. The way Curry spoke about his father, Del Curry, and how family support had shaped him, resonated deeply with the young boy who missed his own father terribly. "Sometimes," Curry said, his voice softening as he looked directly at the students, "the biggest victories happen not on the court, but in the small moments when we choose to be brave, to be kind, to reach out to others." His words seemed to float directly to Marcus, who felt his heart beating faster as he looked down at his drawing once more. As Curry's presentation continued, he moved closer to the bleachers, engaging with individual students. He high-fived excited kids, answered questions about his training routine, and shared stories that made everyone laugh. The atmosphere was electric, but Marcus remained in his bubble of quiet contemplation. "You know," Curry said, kneeling down to speak with a group of third-graders in the front row, "some of my most treasured memories aren't from winning championships. They're from letters and drawings that kids like you have given me over the years. They remind me why I play, not just for myself, but to inspire others to chase their dreams." Those words hit Marcus like a lightning bolt. He looked down at his drawing again, the stick figure basketball player with the word "Daddy" underneath. He had drawn it during art class yesterday, thinking about how his father used to play basketball with him in their driveway every evening after work. Mrs. Patterson had encouraged him to add details, but Marcus had kept it simple, just like the memories he held closest to his heart. The presentation was winding down, and Curry was taking final questions. Students were raising their hands eagerly, shouting out compliments and asking for advice. Marcus felt a familiar tightness in his chest, the same feeling he got when he wanted to call his dad but knew he was busy on base thousands of miles away. Mrs. Patterson noticed Marcus fidgeting with his paper and leaned over. "That's a beautiful drawing, Marcus. I think Mr. Curry would love to see it," she whispered encouragingly. Marcus shook his head shyly, but something in his teacher's kind eyes gave him a spark of courage. As the formal presentation ended and students began to line up to leave, Marcus found himself standing up. His legs felt shaky, and his heart was pounding so loud he was sure everyone could hear it. The drawing felt heavy in his small hands as he took his first step down from the bleachers. Curry was saying goodbye to the principal and some teachers near the gymnasium entrance when he noticed the small figure approaching him. Marcus walked slowly, each step requiring more courage than the last. The other students had mostly filed out, but a few lingered with their teachers, creating a small audience for this moment that was about to unfold. "Excuse me, Mr. Curry?" Marcus's voice was barely above a whisper, but in the now quieter gym it carried clearly. Curry turned around, his face immediately softening as he saw the young boy standing there, clearly nervous but determined. Stephen Curry crouched down to Marcus's eye level, instantly recognizing the significance of this moment for the shy boy who had somehow found the courage to approach him. The late afternoon light streaming through the gymnasium windows created a warm glow around them, and the few remaining teachers and students instinctively grew quiet, sensing something special was happening. "Hi there," Curry said gently, his voice carrying the same warmth he used when talking to his own children. "What's your name?" "Marcus," the boy replied, his voice still small, but gaining strength from Curry's encouraging smile. I made this for you." He held out the crumpled piece of paper with trembling hands. Curry accepted the drawing with the same care he might handle a championship trophy. As he unfolded it, his expression shifted from polite interest to something much deeper. The simple crayon drawing showed a basketball player in a blue uniform, arms raised in victory. But it was the word "Daddy" written in careful, uneven letters at the bottom that made Curry's breath catch. "This is incredible, Marcus," Curry said, his voice thick with emotion as he studied every line and color. "Tell me about your drawing." Marcus shifted nervously from foot to foot, looking down at his sneakers. "That's my daddy. He's in the army, and he's really far away right now. But he used to play basketball with me every day after work." The words tumbled out in a rush, as if they had been waiting for exactly this moment to be spoken. "He taught me how to dribble and shoot," Marcus continued, his voice growing stronger as he shared his memories. "He said that basketball teaches you to never give up, even when you miss a lot of shots. He said champions keep trying." Curry felt his eyes beginning to water as he listened to this young boy's story. Around them, the remaining adults, Principal Rodriguez, Mrs. Patterson, and a few other teachers, watched in stunned silence as they witnessed something far more powerful than any basketball highlight. "Your dad sounds like an amazing man," Curry said, his voice gentle but clear enough for everyone in the gym to hear. "And you know what? This drawing, it's not just a picture. It's love. It's the kind of love that travels across oceans and makes people stronger." Marcus looked up at Curry with wide eyes, not quite understanding the profound impact his simple gesture was having on everyone around him. But he could see that the famous basketball player was genuinely moved, and that made his heart feel lighter than it had in months. "Can I tell you a secret, Marcus?" Curry asked, carefully folding the drawing and holding it close to his chest. "Some of the most important games I've ever played. I've thought about kids like you. Kids who are missing someone they love. Kids who are being brave even when it's hard." What happened next would be remembered by everyone in that gymnasium for the rest of their lives. Instead of simply thanking Marcus and moving on, Stephen Curry did something that revealed the true depth of his character. He pulled out his phone and, with Marcus's permission, took a photo of the drawing. Then, to everyone's amazement, he opened his contacts and began dialing a number. The gym fell completely silent except for the sound of the phone ringing on speaker. "Hey, this is Stephen Curry," he said when someone answered on the other end. "I'm here at Lincoln Elementary in Oakland, and I have a very special young man named Marcus who has something he'd like to share with his dad." The voice that came through the phone was filled with surprise and joy. "Marcus, is that really you, buddy?" Marcus's face transformed with pure happiness as he heard his father's voice echoing through the quiet gymnasium. "Daddy, I drew you a picture. Mr. Curry has it." What followed was a conversation that brought tears to every adult eye in the room. Marcus told his father about the drawing, about how much he missed him, and about how Mr. Curry had said that love travels across oceans. His father, Staff Sergeant David Thompson, spoke from his base in Germany, his own voice breaking with emotion as he told his son how proud he was and how much he loved him. "Son," Sergeant Thompson said through the phone, "you just made my whole year. And Mr. Curry, sir, I can't thank you enough for this. You've given me and my boy something we'll never forget." Curry wiped his own eyes openly, no longer trying to hide his emotions. "Thank you for your service, Sergeant Thompson. And thank you, Marcus, for reminding all of us what really matters. As the call ended, something magical happened in that small school gymnasium. The few remaining students, teachers, and staff who had witnessed this moment began to applaud, not the loud, exciting applause of a basketball game, but the soft, meaningful applause of people who had just witnessed something beautiful and real. Principal Rodriguez found herself crying openly as she watched Curry carefully place Marcus's drawing in his jacket pocket, right over his heart. Mrs. Patterson had to sit down on the bleachers, overwhelmed by the compassion she had just witnessed. But perhaps the most touching moment came when Curry knelt down one more time and asked Marcus, "Would it be okay if I kept this drawing with me? Maybe even showed it to my teammates? I think they need to remember what we're really playing for." Marcus nodded eagerly, his face glowing with a happiness that had been missing for months. As Curry stood to leave, he placed a gentle hand on Marcus's shoulder and said, "You know what, champ? Your dad was right. Champions do keep trying. And you, showing up here today with this gift, that took real courage. You're already a champion." As Stephen Curry walked out of Lincoln Elementary that day, he carried with him more than just a child's drawing. He carried a reminder of why his platform mattered, why kindness was always the right choice, and why sometimes the smallest gestures create the biggest impact. The story spread quickly through the school and then the community. Local news picked it up, and soon people across the country were talking about the NBA superstar who took time to connect a young boy with his deployed father. But for those who were there that afternoon, it wasn't about the fame or the headlines. It was about witnessing pure human kindness in action. Marcus kept that drawing's memory close to his heart, and every time he played basketball in his driveway, which he started doing again that very evening, he remembered both his father's lessons and Stephen Curry's kindness. The drawing itself traveled with Curry for the rest of the season, a small piece of paper that reminded him and his teammates why they had the privilege to inspire others. In a world that often feels divided and complicated, sometimes it takes a child's simple drawing and an athlete's open heart to remind us all of our shared humanity. That day at Lincoln Elementary, everyone learned that the most powerful victories happen not when we score points, but when we choose to see and honor the love that surrounds us every day.